What's up, everyone? Jason Gilbo here with Chris Etherington, taking a look at AT&T Byron Nelson DraftKings picks. A crazy Players Championship. I mean, like I said, I was telling you, it was like 10 minutes you'd look and, maybe a half hour went by and you looked and guys were like, I don't know, 40 spots lower than where they were when you first looked. It was just out of control.
Yeah, you had a couple popular players like Garcia and Justin Rose to start off really good towards Saturday, at the end of Saturday, and then for some reason that probably the first 5 or 6 holes on Sunday, they just started dropping like flies. I mean, I had Garcia in my lineup that was doing very well in a tournament. And if he actually shot under par, then I might have had a really good chance of actually placing high on the leaderboard. But yeah, it was just one of those crazy weeks with the high winds on the weekend and a lot of popular players missing Sunday due to the MDF. So it happens, but now we're in Texas, and again, we're going to have to deal with high winds again for this week.
Yeah, I was looking. It looks like Friday, Saturday is supposed to be the winds, or mainly Saturday.
Yeah, right now it's a little too early to tell what's going to happen. I would recommend checking again closer Wednesday night, probably, just to double check on which way to go, whether it's stacking tee times or not. But if the high winds won't show up till the weekend, then stacking tee times won't be an advantage for this week. So yeah, just stay tuned for like closer to Wednesday night and see what's happening.
As far as the top price guys go, I mean, we once again have Dustin Johnson, who's your Vegas favorite, and salary shows it, 12.5. But you and I both looking at Sergio for $1,500 cheaper. Just makes a lot of sense with the way he's been playing, and pretty close in terms of a shot whoever wins this thing.
Yeah, I think Garcia is the perfect cash option for this week if you want to start up with him. I think he had a little Masters hangover last week with the 3-4 weeks off after his win at the Masters. He said himself that he just wanted to get that what he'll feel like after being announced as the Masters champion on the first tee Thursday morning. And it definitely showed in his first round. And then he actually did come back playing well on Saturday, but then he faltered on Sunday. So I think I'm just going to chalk that up as just a Masters hangover for Garcia. He is the defending champion for this week. So I think starting with him for your cash games is a fine play for this week.
Yeah, I mean, still scored really well. Obviously, the ace definitely helps. But I mean, for the most part, it still was fairly solid up until that last day. So yeah, I'm with you. I like Garcia. I think everyone else is remotely just GPP pivots away from him, because I really like the 9K or 8K range more than I do actually paying up for double-digit guys.
Yeah, I think it's still okay to pay up for DJ. He's still the best player in the field. There's no question about that. But there's a lot of good options below him. I think Spieth might be the perfect tournament option for this week with a miscut last week. Everyone will be off of him, but he's still solid. He's still hanging it pretty close and making a lot of birdies. So I think he's going to be a nice little pivot off of Garcia for this week.
Then we look at the 9K range. I mean, everyone's in play for me here. I mean, Louis, Reed, Finau. I mean, I'm going to be having some shares of really all three.
Yeah, same here. I really like Louis' price. He's finally priced right with his play last week and with his stats overall. I think he's just going to be a fine play either for cash or for tournaments. I think Finau is the same option, either cash or tournaments. He has really good stats overall. He's 4th in greens to regulation, 17th at birdie or better. He's also 4th in strokes gained off the tee. So if you look at that, he had a 3rd place finish back at the Valero Texas Open. And then when you look at his course history, I mean, he's played here twice, and his last 2 times he finished 12th and 10th. So at 9,200, I think that's even starting with him for your cash options, I think that's a good strategy for this week.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem going right back to the well. I mean, I had a lot of Finau last week, and it did not go well, but I have no issues. I mean, for the most part, he's been excellent this season. As you said, all the stats really line up for him in this course.
Yeah, he's just another fine option in the 9K range. I had a lot of Duffner last week, right below him. And then you have Kuchar below him, which I think those two might be a little bit more popular plays. But as for me, I think I'm just going to, like you said, go back to Tony and start my cash games from there and pair him with Garcia as an option as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like Duffner too this week. I mean, I think he's another safe option. 8,800, not that badly priced. Has missed one cut this year. Solid par 4 birdies or better score. I mean, it kind of adds up to just being a guy you can plug into cash games. I mean, and even GPPs.
Yeah, when Duffner, I mean, when you look at him, he's still a solid player overall. I think he is just going to be just a fine tournament option. I think a lot of people got burned by him last week. He was a popular player last week, and with finishing towards dead last, basically, I think he burned a lot of people. So I think he's a fine tournament option for this week.
And I know moving down, Russell Henley's a guy you're looking at, 8,300. I mean, really nice price on him.
Yeah, I really like his price. I mean, he's definitely one of the best stats in the field. I mean, he's what he is. Let me just look at it here. He's 22nd in greens regulation, 24th in birdie or better. He's 22nd in strokes gained off the tee. I mean, at 8,300, I think he's a fine play for this week, and he has really good recent form. He's made his last 3 cuts. So at 8,300, yeah, I think he's going to be a fine pick for this week. He could be a nice dark horse as well.
And as far as the rest of these guys in this range, I mean, Byung-Hoon An, JB Holmes, we're talking about Ollie as well, 7,700, Gary Woodland. You know, there's a lot of the guys where I feel like the balanced approach, because I actually do feel like a lot of these guys can make a run at this tournament.
Yeah, I really like Ollie this week. He's priced okay at 7,700. For his last 2 tournaments, he finished 3rd and then 18th, and then he had a nice 3 weeks off basically. And then when you look at his stats, I mean, he's basically in the middle of the pack. He's 27th for proximity to the hole. He's 48th in par 3 scoring. So at 7,700, being just below Gary Woodland, who I think will be the most popular play of the week, I think that's Ollie's going to be a fine pivot option for tournaments.
As far as the rest of these guys, I mean, Ian Poulter, you were talking probably a good fade, a good GPP fade this week, just coming off a strong week.
Yeah, I think with a lot of people watching him play on the weekend, the way he finished on Sunday, I think at 7,600, Poulter is going to be very popular. Even though his stats are not looking that good right now, but I think because of his second place last week, a lot of people saw that, and I think him and Gary Woodland will be definitely in the top 10, I think, in ownership this week.
A guy I like Ryan Moore. A couple of top 10s this year, decent putter. He's kind of just an average stats guy, but I mean, I feel like the price is pretty nice, and I mean, he gives you a little bit of consistency, and has shown the upside in the past. I mean, earlier this year had some decent scores, but kind of quiet, but is going to hover around, top 20, top 25.
Yeah, I would compare Ryan Moore to someone like Jason Duffner. They both basically just show up to a tournament. They will usually make the cut, and you can basically bank on them finishing in the top 30. Like you said, Moore's stats is basically average for the field. His best stat is birdie or better right now. He's ranked 50th in that category. He's 68th in proximity. So as long as he keeps that up and maybe make a few putts on the weekend, he could actually contend for this week. He's also a fine wind player as well. So if it does get windy on the weekend, then he should be able to find play for the week.
And with that being said, I mean, if you compare him to Duffner as similar players, I mean, $1,000 cheaper for Moore.
Yeah, and also I think Duffner might be a little bit more popular than him as well. Not too many people like playing Ryan Moore, so I think Moore, like being a lot cheaper than Duffner, I'll go to him for tournaments this week.
Then moving down, I mean, two guys at 7,300. JJ Spawn, I know you like. JT Poston's a guy I'll take a look at this week. I mean, kind of similar scores as far as how the season's played out in terms of Spawn's had a couple more top 10s, but really nice prices for guys that are very consistent and, I mean, kind of suit the scores pretty fairly.
Yeah, they're really solid players for the year. I think with Spawn, if it wasn't for John Rahm's performance this season, then I think Spawn might be in a good running for the Rookie of the Year status. But with that being said, just like Henley, Spawn is right behind him in stats relative to the field. Spawn is 49th and GIR. He's 47th and birdie or better, 31st and scores getting off the tee, and he's 12th in par 3 scoring. When you look at his recent form, he's only played twice in the last 6 weeks with a 6th place finish and a 49th. And then he also had a nice little 3-week break after that. And with Poston, I mean, similar stats to Spawn. Not as good, but he's still basically average. But also he played twice in the last 6 weeks, and he basically finished in the top 30 in both events. So I think Spawn and Poston, they will be both somewhat low owned, I think, and I think are going to be a fine place for tournaments.
Anyone else kind of cut your eye down here? I mean, I think Hudson Swafford is probably the only other name in a GPP that I consider. I mean, he does have a couple hit and miss numbers, but a good ball striker, solid in strokes gained off the tee as well.
Yeah, I think with his win earlier this season, I think he's a little just kind of taking the rest of the season basically as a little break, I think. And it shows in his last 3 events, 2 missed cuts in his last 3. But I think overall, he does still have solid stats. And at 6,900, if he makes the cut, I mean, that's all you want from him. As for me, the guy at the same price is, got to say his name, Nick Taylor.
Gotta say it. You're biased, man. You're biased. Come on.
Yeah, It is. It's true, but it was between him or Dillette, and I just like Nick Taylor better. So Taylor has pretty much the average stats that you're looking for this week. With this recent performance, he's made his last 3. He had an 8th place finish at the Wells Fargo. No history here, but I mean, at 6,900, if he makes the cut, that's all I'm looking for him. And with the upside of a top 10 finish, that's a really good value for Taylor.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard time. I definitely don't have an issue with him. I mean, been consistent, and the price really does fit him nicely.
It does. I think a lot of people go to Nick Watney, possibly Swafford, and there's probably a few other guys I think below him that might be a bit more popular. But I think Taylor might be a fine option in the $6,000 range.
Anyone else you want to talk about?
There's really no one that I see that I like, especially at the moment. But I think I just like the guys mostly at the top and just try to find the value guys underneath, like Jason Spawn, Nick Taylor. That's pretty much it for me.
So I'm gonna assume Garcia's your guy to win here. Or do you like Johnson?
It's a little hard to defend your title the year after, so I think DJ might have a little revenge this week after last week. He didn't play his best last week, so I think with him still being one of the best players in the world, yeah, I'm just going to have to go with DJ for this week.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, I think Louis might be maybe not a dark horse, but my non-top guy to kind of come through here.
Yeah, he did play very well last week. And again, he's just a fine player overall. There's really no reason not to play him this week for sure.
Yep. That's going to wrap things up here with us. If you want to check out Chris's article and his core, you can head to dailyfantasycafe.com and be sure to check out the rest of our great PGA content.